It is an honor to stand before you today on this very special day to remember all those very special people who have served and continue to serve this great country. I would like to welcome those members of the Board of Education, community members and leaders, teachers, students, and most importantly, the people for which we come together, the many veterans and their families who join us here today.
It is your courage, your strength, your duty, and your service that allow us to enjoy the freedom we have today. We thank you for giving yourselves to your great country and wish to pay tribute to you and all the other veterans and the current military men and women serving today.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
His grace on thee, and crown thy good
It is now my pleasure to invite to the podium the Jackson R2 Superintendent, Dr. Ron Anderson.
Well, good morning. I would like to welcome all the veterans that are here today. This is a very special day, and this day is for you. Something that the Jackson R2 schools have been involved with now for many years, and it's something that we really look forward to. I also would like to welcome our Mayor, Barbara Lohr, and at this time introduce the Board of Education. Some are present and some are not, but we want to recognize all of them. Gerald Adams, Terry Tomlin, Brent Wills, Dan Stover, Dr. T. Wayne Lewis, Bruce Thomas, and Paul Stoner. Please give a welcome applause for the Board of Education. Veterans Day is a time to thank and honor all of those who have served in the military in wartime and peace. The observation of Veterans Day on November the 11th preserves the historical significance of that day, the end of World War II in 1918. As our troops continue to maintain peace in areas around the world, we are more aware of the contributions of our veterans. Our veterans have been called on numerous times to provide security and maintain our freedom. We want to thank those who have made this celebration possible this morning, and they deserve, I think, the individual recognition. I'm going to list their names. Mrs. Christy Sheehan, Mrs. Beth St. John, Mr. Bob Clubbs, Mr. Ken Markin, Ms. Kara Craycraft, the American Legion Honor Guard, the high school choir, Mr. Vince Powell, Ms. Dana Bruns, Mr. Tom Schreiner, Mrs. Liz Oftenberg, and the Student Council. Please give them a round of applause. And now we focus our attention on the importance of Veterans Day, a celebration to honor American veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. We will now have the posting of the colors.
Would everyone please join in the Pledge of Allegiance? Please remain standing after the pledge for the singing of our national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One of the rebels we watched, first the gallant
Forward. Forward.
You may now be seated. I would now like to welcome to the stage Mr. Markin, a JHS history teacher, who will be sharing the reading of the 2012 Presidential Veterans Day Proclamation.
The following is a proclamation signed by President Barack Obama on November 7th, 2012, to proclaim November 11th Veterans Day. Whether they fought in Salerno or Samaria, Heartbreak Ridge or Helmand, Khe Sanh or the Korean Gao, our veterans are part of an unbroken chain of men and women who have served our country with honor and distinction. On Veterans Day, we know that we show them our deepest thanks. Their sacrifices have helped secure more than 2 centuries of American progress, and their legacy affirms that no matter what confronts us or what trials we face, there is no challenge we cannot overcome, and our best days are still ahead. This year, we mark the 200th anniversary of the War of 1812. We began to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. We welcomed our veterans back home from Iraq, and we continued to wind down operations in Afghanistan. These milestones remind us that though much has changed since Americans first took up arms to advance freedom's cause, the spirit that moved our forebears is the same spirit that has defined each generation of our service members. Our men and women in uniform have taught us about strength, duty, devotion, resolve, cornerstones of a commitment to protect and defend that has kept our country safe for over 200 years. In war and in peace, their service has been selfless and their accomplishments have been extraordinary. Even after our veterans take off the uniform, they never stop serving. Many apply the skills and experience they developed on the battlefield to a life of service here at home. They take on roles in their communities as doctors and police officers, engineers and entrepreneurs, mothers and fathers. As a grateful nation, it is our task to make the transition possible, to ensure our returning heroes can share in the opportunities they have given so much to defend. The freedoms we cherish endure because of their service and sacrifice, and our country must strive to honor our veterans by fulfilling our responsibilities to them and upholding the sacred trust we share with all who have served. On days like this, we are called to reflect on immeasurable burdens that have been borne by so few. We pay tribute to our wounded, our missing, our fallen, and their families. Men and women who have known the true cost of conflict and deserve our deepest respect now and forever. We also remember that our commitments to those who have served our troops commitment we must honor not only on Veterans Day, but every day. As we do so, let us affirm our promise that when our troops finish their tours of duty, they come home to an America that gives them the benefits they have earned, the care they deserve, and the fullest opportunity to keep their families strong and our country moving forward. With respect for and in recognition of the contributions our service members have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world, the Congress has provided that November 11th of each year shall be set aside as a legal public holiday to honor our nation's veterans. That day was yesterday. Today, we honor you. Thank you, and God bless.
Who are the brave? Those who fight in war.
Who are the brave? Those who fight no more.
Those who protect our freedom.
Those who maintain our peace.
Those with strength and courage.
Those are the brave.
Those families who wait for their soldiers to return.
Those are the brave.
Who are the brave?
You are, Jackson hometown heroes. You are the brave.
I would now like to invite the 2012 winner of the Voice of Democracy speech contest, Alexia Phillips, to the podium.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to us and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. These immortal words of the preamble of our Constitution set up a document that has been in place for 225 years, providing the backbone for a now united nation that began by picking up 13 broken states in a revolution that shook a world power back over the Atlantic. A concerning question presents itself. Is our Constitution still relevant? Today, I will prove the relevance of our Constitution in the modern world with 3 points that revolve around the document itself. 1, the development and structure of our government. 2, our states. United we stand, divided we fall. And 3, the amendments that help define our rights as an American citizen. Let us begin with point 1, the development and structure of our government. With the birth of a new nation is the arrival of a new government. This was a vital responsibility left to our founding fathers that would determine the fate of their new, independent country. They decided on 3 branches to be the base of America's government. The legislative branch, which consists of the House of Representatives, the Senate, and controls matters such as presidential vetoes. The executive branch, which consists primarily of the nation's leader, the President of the United States of America, and his duties. And lastly, the judicial branch, which consists of the Supreme Court and covers such situations that may involve treason or impeachment. These branches may have been instated over 2 centuries ago, but they still stand strong and are used as the structure of our government, of a nation that has since become a major world power and has lasted the test of time, something most believed to be impossible when we first began and broke away from Britain. Today, these branches continue to make up a government that makes decisions for a nation of over 314 million people. Those 314 million all live under the jurisdiction of the United States, which brings me to my second point, our 50 states. United we stand, and divided we would fall. When the Constitution was written, it stated that full faith shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings. Each state shall abide to the rights of citizens determined by the Constitution, but may decide the effects that a judicial proceeding brings. If a crime is committed in one state, and that person chooses to flee and is found in another, they are to be brought back to the state in which the crime was originally committed, and shall be tried there. Each state is guaranteed a republican form of government, and is promised to be protected from invasion. These values and more have all been and continue to be upheld through present day, another direct result of our Constitution. Now let's move on to my third and final point, the amendments of the Constitution and how they help guide our country and state our rights. As citizens of the United States, we have 12 of the 27 amendments of our Constitution dedicated to our rights as human beings. These include some such as freedom of speech, religion, press, and expression, the right to bear arms. Several amendments focused on the rights of a trial and punishment, including by jury, the abolishment of slavery, women's rights, and no bar on voting. All of these are still in action today and are a focal point on the American dream that so many aspire to achieve. In addition, the other 15 amendments continue to serve as more of a guideline for our government and its limits. This includes, but is not limited to, quartering of soldiers, judicial limits, the choosing of the president, limiting changes to congressional pay, the election of senators, and the presidential and congressional terms and duties. These amendments all serve a purpose to keep a strong, united nation in government and ensure fairness for all ethnicities and genders that live as citizens of the United States. If it weren't for several of these amendments, I may not be wearing the clothes I chose to wear today or speak the words coming from my mouth. These allow my freedom as an American citizen and have been doing so for 225 years. Today, I have provided 3 points that have clearly summarized our Constitution and described why this aged document is still relevant in our modern world. I discussed the development and structure of our government, our 50 United States, and the amendments that help define our rights as an American citizen. Let us all continue to stand together as one nation under God like our founding fathers intended, saluting the stars and stripes, following our Constitution with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
The choir would now like to pay tribute to the various branches of the military and veterans. We ask that when you hear your anthem played, that you please stand and be recognized. The United States Army. In World War I, 4,057,101 soldiers served valiantly on the field of battle. To all the men and women of the Army throughout our history, our salute. The United States Navy. In World War II, 4,183,466 men and women answered the call to protect our country. To every member of the Navy on every battlefront, we salute you. United States Coast Guard. During the Korean War, 44,143 members of the Coast Guard fought bravely for freedom's preservation. To the many generations of Coast Guard veterans, our gratitude and our salute. The United States Marines. In the Vietnam War, 794,000 Marines served their country with valor and honor. To every member of the Marine Corps, we salute you. The United States Air Force. During the Persian Gulf War, 50,751 Air Force pilots put their lives on the line in defense of freedom. To all the men and women of the Air Force who have continuously served their country, our salute.
We would like to recognize our veterans this morning. Before we do that, we would like to take a moment to recognize their support team. Spouses, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and any other family members of our veterans, both living and in their eternal resting place. If you would, please rise so that we might recognize you. Thank you. You may be seated.
Now, if all of our veterans would please stand and remain standing as we pay tribute to you.
Today is a day for every citizen to remember and honor the sacrifice of our nation's veterans. It is important to celebrate the service of all our veterans, those who fought during time of war, as well as those who fought and are still fighting or serving around the world to maintain peace.
And to all our veterans, no matter where or when they served, regardless of what branch of military they served in, thank you for your service. We know that each of you did your best to protect our freedom and great nation.
For some of our veterans, the battle scars, disabling injuries, and prolonged illnesses they carry help to keep the memory of their wars fresh in their minds. They deserve the assurances from a grateful nation that what they have accomplished at such high personal cost to them enables all of us to enjoy a future free from fear.
We need to take a few moments to recognize the men and women who are serving in today's active duty military, guard, and reserve who, as we meet, are doing everything that they can to defend and preserve freedom and liberty.
They are our mothers, our fathers, aunts, uncles, sons, daughters, grandmothers, grandfathers, recent alumni and classmates, as well as teachers of this, our own, Jackson High School. The sacrifices and accomplishments made by today's generation of patriots are many, and serve as a reminder that tyranny and evil will never prevail. Thank you, Mr. Stover, Doc Miller, thank you, Dad, and to all the rest of you sitting out there today.
The lessons taught by what veterans have provided all of us should never be forgotten. It is up to all of us to keep the legacy of our veterans alive, to make sure the same spirit and faith in democracy carries through so that future generations will also celebrate the unity, courage, valor, and singleness of the purpose that is the strength of a free nation.
That is why today we come together today at Jackson High School to pay tribute to all of you, your families, and to keep your legacy alive. You are our heroes. You are a priceless treasure, and to gather together is an honor and a privilege.
We at JHS realize that we should do everything possible to ensure that future generations recognize the heavy price associated with freedom and how important it is that our future generations are able to identify the names of far-off places where so many of our best and brightest lost their lives so that others could live free.
We hope future generations know the names of our nation's heroes and that we are able to instill the same sense of honor and respect in our children that we hold for our nation's patriots.
Why do we honor our veterans? Because honoring our veterans is the right thing to do. Because we are a nation whose freedom has been guaranteed by all of our veterans and the service and sacrifices that each veteran has given to our nation throughout the years.
And while we pay tribute to them, we should also take the opportunity to rededicate ourselves to our fine country and to those who have protected and continue to protect her.
We must turn our words into actions by honoring our obligations to our veterans, just as they honored their obligations to all of us. Make it a point, not just today, but every day, to thank them for everything they have done and are doing to make this world a safer and peaceful world.
In honor of all the fine veterans in our audience and our community, just as serving our country here or abroad, those no longer with us, as well as those POWs and MIAs. We offer a moment of silence for their duty and service to the United States of America.
We would like to take a moment this morning to remember Major Garrett Wayne Nolan, 1998 graduate of Jackson High School, who passed away on October 11, 2012, while participating in a water survival training exercise in Pensacola, Florida. During high school, Garrett lettered in and was selected as captain of the high school soccer team that won the first district championship for Jackson High School. He also participated in the chamber choir and other extracurricular activities. Garrett attended the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs from July of 1998 to May of 2012. Garrett graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and received a commission as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. His first assignment was to serve as an aircraft support flight commander at McChord Air Force Base in the state of Washington. From May 2005 to March of 2007, Garrett attended the Graduate School of Engineering and Management, Air Force Institute of Technology in Dayton, Ohio. Garrett graduated with honors with a Master of Science in Systems Engineering. Garrett's next assignment was the Global Positioning Systems Wing at Los Angeles Air Force Base in California. He served as test manager for the GPS satellite systems. During this assignment, Garrett attended Squadron Commander School and graduated in the top 10% as a distinguished graduate. During this stage of his career, Garrett received numerous awards and received top ratings in his officer performance reports. Based on his performance, Garrett was selected to attend the highly competitive U.S. Air Force Test Pilot School located at Edwards Air Force Base in California. After a 48-week course, Garrett graduated from Test Pilot School on December 11, 2010, with a Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering. Garrett was a distinguished graduate in the top 10% of his class. After graduating from Test Pilot School, Garrett joined the 413th Flight Test Squadron at Hurlburt Field, Florida, in December of 2010. His duty title was Flight Commander, Vertical Lift Acquisitions. Garrett continued to excel in this assignment and received top ratings in his officer performance reviews. Garrett was recently selected and serving as the executive officer for Brigadier General David A. Harris, commander of the 96th Test Wing, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Garrett was an outstanding young man who worked hard to excel in every aspect of his life. Despite long hours spent serving his country, Garrett always prioritized his faith, family, and friends. He selflessly gave his time and energy to anyone who needed his help. He loved his family and was a life force for his wife, Meg, and their two sons, Beckett and Levi. His family loved him beyond measure. A beautiful poem reads, "In loving memory of one who loved his country, who fought against evil to preserve what is right and true and good. In loving memory of one who is a cut above the rest of us, who had the surpassing courage, the uncommon strength to do whatever had to be done, persevering through hardship and pain. In loving memory of one who was brave enough to give his life, his all, so that those he cared about would remain safe and free. In loving memory of a unique and treasured soldier who will never be forgotten." We at Jackson High School wish to take this moment to remember Major Garrett Wayne Nolan, his family, and his incredible service. For all that he gave and the so many others that have gone before him, we dedicate this next song to their memory, for they will never be forgotten. We know that not all of the Nolan family could be here today, as several of them are still in Florida with Meg and the boys. However, we would like to present a small token of our love to Garrett's father, Jack, and Garrett's brother, Spencer, and his wife, Laura, this morning, who are here on the family's behalf.
If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration. That they are special, no one can ignore.
They sacrificed the comforts we enjoy. The list is long of all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave.
When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform.
Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional. No other group compares. We are grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers.
We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women serve our country, our veterans, the very best on earth.
Jackson High School salutes you, our hometown heroes.
veterans of many wars and conflicts, on this our recognition of Veterans Day at Jackson High School.
We will now have the retiring of the colors.
Guards, retrieve the color. And salute. 2, take colors. Guards, assemble. Forward, forward.
Everyone may be seated. Thank you for joining us today to honor our veterans. May this small program be a large token of our appreciation to all the veterans who are able to join us today, those who are no longer with us, and those unable to be here because they are serving our country as we speak. We are forever grateful for your service.
Please know that at Jackson High School, we are indeed grateful for your service and sacrifice. We would like to invite you to reception through these doors to the back of this building and into the band room. We ask that you would wait to exit until the students have left the building. You may follow the choir members out of the auditorium. They will make a tunnel through the west hallway. Happy Veterans Day.